makes us one. One person, one vote. One law for all. Ends the division. No more racism. Stop co-governance. We are one. Honour the treaty. End the division. No more racism. We are one. Honour the treaty. Stop co-governance. Honour the treaty. Stop co-governance. One law for all.
Check. Can you guys all hear me? No. Alright. A man here. What's his name, my brother? Paul the man. He's going to sing an national anthem. I'm not going to sing it, but I think I don't want to leave it for 4 years. So I thought I'd better let us sing it.
God of nations, as thy feet in the storms of strife we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat. God defend thou freely. God Pacific triple star, from the strife of life and war, may her praises
very much. Awesome. All right, again, welcome. We get straight into it. I'm going to ask Julian, bachelor, to come up and say a few words. Give it up for Julian.
You guys, I'm going to stay a certain distance from these, otherwise it doesn't work. I'm so proud of you for coming. You know what? There's a lot of people who are scared of coming public. They might be seen by the iwi mafia. They might have their businesses cancelled. They might be intimidated. They might be bullied. And there's a lot of so-called risks for coming out public with what you believe. You know, most people are not very brave. They're not very courageous, but you are. I'll give yourselves a clap for that. Come on, you come out today because you said the issues are bad enough. This issue is so bad, prepared to be intimidated and bullied and harassed and having people cancel you. You said, I don't care. I'm coming out. I'm going to tell New Zealand what I believe. And you came out and you did that. And I'm absolutely proud of you. You are freaking awesome. And you know what the tragedy of this is? Look, you and I mean, I'm in my 60s now. I'm a young guy. So some of you, this Mario, how old are you down here? You're 70, okay, so you could be a little bit older than me. Here you are. But the point of it is, in the 70s and 80s when I grew up, you know what, we didn't have any racial division. I had Maori in my sports teams, I had Maori in my school classes. We all got on, we didn't even think about the skin colour of the person sitting next to you. We were colourblind. Is that true? Yeah. We were just New Zealanders, and now you've got a government that's come in and trying to hijack this country. It's a coup. It's nothing less than a coup. They're hijacking our beautiful country, making it a place of like South Africa was in the 1970s and 80s, where people of one colour, Maori people, and this is not being driven by Maori people, it's being driven by an elite group of crazy mafia at the top of Maori who think that they can be the tail wagging the dog, who are dictating to the rest of the country how we should all be living. I've just been in hospital and I saw people in those hospitals because of the colour of their skin given preferential treatment over other people who had a different coloured skin colour. And I tell you what, if it was white people being pushed to the top of the list, I'd be up there complaining. I'd be up there, I'd be having protests here saying, you can't do this to Maori, treat them differently, they've got to be treated equally. That's what I would be saying. I would be saying the same thing. So I am protesting for all New Zealanders, and I'm saying this country is not going to be hijacked. We're not having a coup. We are not going to allow this to happen. We are going to have a country that is ruled by democracy. It's going to be one person, one vote, all votes of equal value, one law for all, and we are not going to have racism and apartheid, and wherever racism and apartheid rear their heads, we are going to say no. I want you to come up with that banner saying Ona Te Tiriti. Can you bring that up here please quickly? I want you to, this is some of my team here, and this was a banner, believe it or not. Just stand on the side, I want you to get photos of this. This was a banner that was left on the road outside Tauranga with a whole lot of protesters who came in, and it says Ona Te Tiriti. Well, do you know what we're really trying to do? We are the only group in this country trying to honour Te Tiriti. Those activists should be part of our group, because we are the team. We are the people who are trying to honour Te Tiriti. But over the last 40 years, successive politicians, successive groups, activists have got inside the government like rats up a drain pipe, and they have changed that treaty, they have twisted that treaty, they have contorted that treaty, and now it's unrecognisable compared to the treaty that was signed on February the 6th, 1840. And that is wrong, because We are using fraudulent copies of the Treaty of Waitangi. We are using copies of the Treaty of Waitangi that have no mandate in law. We're trying to bring the country back to honour the original treaty in Maori. Give us a clap for that. And so, this is gone. So when the activists put up signs saying honour Te Tiriti, I'm saying come over to this side, you guys. Get over here. Get over here. Because we're on the same page. These activists, they have no idea why they're being. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea why they are protesting. They're put there probably by government people. They've been brainwashed by the media. And they're blindly following along. You know, you guys are here because you see all the... Shall I move back? You've seen through all the crap. And you've had the discernment and the wisdom to say no. And I've given many of you a hug today because I've said you're joining something to save this nation. Because if co-governance keeps going and the elite Maori takeover of New Zealand keeps going, we are going to be the Zimbabwe of the South Pacific. Nobody will come here. It'll be a place of corruption. It'll be a place where no visitors will want to come because they're going to get ripped off. Good people will start leaving the country. Then the tax take will go down. Then infrastructure will collapse. Hospitals, schools, roads. Crime will start to increase. So will corruption. And before you know it, this country will be a hellhole.
Blow up.
And it started with co-governance. Brian, come up, my friend. This is my good friend Brian Tamaki. And I want you to welcome him up here. We're brothers. We're both men of faith. But Brian's got a vision for New Zealand. And all he really wants, you know, the media has screwed this guy over. I've known him since he was just a young guy in a church in Te Awamutu like 50 years ago. Not that long, but decades ago. And you know what? I've seen how he's been screwed over by the media, who've absolutely maligned him. And he's not the kind of guy you read about in the paper, I can tell you. And so I want to welcome today to the stage. He's a great man, he's a good man, he's got 6 generations of family going. And he's proved it, he's walked the talk. He's still together with his wife. He's built an amazing church. And he's got a great vision for our country. So welcome Brian Tamaki.
Thank you, Julian. Put your hands together for this man who's had the bravery to stand up to some of the mess of this country. Well, I want to just let you know that we are standing here today because this is probably going to be the election of our lives. On the 14th of October, we will go to the election booths and every Kiwi will vote. Right now, if you understand that we've just come away from 6 years of hell, 6 years of control and dictatorship by the tyrant and the terror reign of Jacinda Ardern and the Labour government. But Nationals know better. Between those two parties, they've had 88 years of governance. Today, what we've got to show for it is this. A country that's in chaos, confusion, A lot of people don't know where to vote. And I'm saying this because this adds up to all of what you are standing and we're standing here today, that we have these factions, these splits, these divides in our country. This is one, divided racially, we're divided by sexual orientation, we're divided by vaccine, we're divided in our families. New Zealand has never been so bad as I've seen it right now. And when you talk about crisis, our whole country's in crisis. Education system's in crisis, our health system's in crisis, we've got a crime crisis, we've got a tax crisis, we've got a debt crisis, and we've got a confidence crisis. Now all those crises that I just talked about, there is even a deadlier crisis, and that's the crisis of the two Chris's. I don't think you heard me. The most deadly crisis that's stalking this country now is the crisis of the two Chris's. National and Labour, by happenstance, are led by two Chris's. Meaning, if you vote Labour, you're going to get Chris. If you vote National, you're still going to get a Chris. Whoever you vote, you're still going to end up with a bloody Chris. Sorry, Lord. So, there's not much difference between the two Chris's now. Both Chris's have morphed in to Chris. So if you think that you're going to get rid of Chris Hipkins out of Labour, well, I got good news and bad news for you. Going to National is just changing from one party to another party, and you're still going to get a Chris. The change that New Zealand wants today, I believe deeper in the heartland of my country, is not changing from blue to red, or red to blue, blue to red, red to blue, blue to red, red to blue, because that's what Kiwis have been doing for the past 50 years, going backward and forward. Now I understand Einstein said that the insanity of that is keep doing the same mistake, or making the same mistake over and over, thinking you're going to get a different result. That's insanity, it's madness, and National and ACT, and if Winston's around, can you imagine that coalition of chaos? They can't even tell us the truth. We get lied to on the daily. Promises that they're going to change things, they never do. We're here today, and I'm here because I support Julian, and I support what he's saying, that our country does not need co-governance. Co-governance needs to end. We will end that. Remove every type of race-based policy, and we will get a hold of those elite Māori at the top of this country who are using the system, rotting our taxpayers' money for themselves. So Māori families are not getting the benefit of what they steal up top. And they are. Willie Jackson and his are the real cartel. You hear? Willie Jackson and his cartel, his caucus, have caused a lot of this mayhem.
Yeah.
They have been in cahoots with Jacinda Ardern, making dirty deals in our parliament, and how they can walk this money toward themselves and what they've got going to own resources of this country, to run our country. And now they've weaponised Te Pati Mā, the Māori Party has been weaponised into a military. They've militarised the Māori Party, so now they are basically a group who are radicalised and want to turn this country over to be run by Māori. Well, while I'm around, that's not going to happen. And I got a message to say to them, because my grandfather is a Tamaki, related to Kiwi Tamaki, which is Te Waiahua, the original tribe of the Auckland Isthmus. So I have every bit of authority to stand here today to tell my iwi, and on the other half of my grandmother from the Waikato Tainui, Maniapoto, I'm telling Māori, you need to recognise and see that cheating Māori the leaders at the top who have no interest or desire to help our people get out of poverty, to get in homes, and to start making a living and working instead of getting on the dole and bludgeoning off the welfare system. They are not helping them at all, and we want to do that. He's really edging me on. Don't push me. I'll really get into it. And so now we have many Māori that are on the dependent on the state. That's what they want. And so Jacinda and some of those smart alecks in National are using Māori to do their dirty work and socialising getting our country to be a communist country and taking away all our privileges, our rights and our freedoms. I've had enough of this sickness in the country caused by politicians in the parliament. I've got to tell you now, we must have change, but not changing from one party to the other party to the other party. They've both screwed our country up. National are liars. Luxon won't even confess or to say he would abolish the transgender curriculum called the relationship and sexualization curriculum into our schools. I challenge him to say, will you abolish that evil sexualization going to our schools? And he would not commit to it. He could not say, no, we would abolish it. He wouldn't. And the reason is because the young Nats now are overtaken by the LGBT community. You hear what I'm saying? The other day, David Seymour stood up in his launch and said, I don't mind if drag queens teach our kids at school. So what you're voting in for possibly our next government are two transgender parties. That's National and ACT. They are gone centre-left. We don't have a centre-right party to stand up for the rights of our Kiwis, the rights of our families, and the rights of our flag, country, and the right of our future. Our children are in danger. Our cows, they want to now punish the farmers. They want to punish the driver of our cars with the ETS system, emissions, eradicating that from us as well. They want to digitise our cash. They want to steal our children away. Right now, as I read, this is a moment in history where we want some bravehearts. I'm putting a call of courage out, a call to courage, the call to action. How many will vote differently this 14th of October? This is the only opportunity that New Zealand has to change our nation for the better. They can't change it from the top down. Hipkins, Luxon, Seymour, Winston Peters, the Green and the Māori Party will not change the status quo because they're power and they are weak. So you have to go outside of the establishment and you need a party. Well, no, I might as well break it down, man, to be honest. You need a party vote in New Zealand. Why? Well, there's some great people, some gifted people. Everyday, ordinary Kiwis who have been working hard like I have all my life for 65 years. I'm 3 months older than my brother here. I've worked hard all my life, paid my taxes. Regardless of what you heard, I'm a 6th-generation family. I've built a movement here in Australia, the church movement and manner and legacy that's helped tens of thousands of men and women and marriages here and here. And I've had experience on the ground that you cannot buy or go to a gift shop and get it. It's only earned by time that you work with people. Those goons down in Wellington don't know what it is to mix with the everyday ordinary people. Luxon and Hipkins and Seymour have worked up universities, have graduated from sorts of business roundtables, and they're ex-CEOs, and they've come out of board buffoon. They don't know what it is to know what people are going through. So we have to have a change, and here we go. Got a party vote freedom in New Zealand. I'm not tainted. I'm not tainted by politics. I will not be bought or bribed by anybody else. I'm not afraid of those who would try to intimidate me and put fear in my life. I'll put fear in their life. I'll be their worst nightmare down there because we want to clean our whole political system up from the corruption. We need to clean it out, hose the yard down, and get rid of those parties and those politicians that are not batting for everyday New Zealanders. The only way we can do that is you've got to put your party vote to Freedoms New Zealand, and if you put us in there, the first 100 days, we will exit the globalists. We will get out of that. We will entrench the New Zealand Bill of Rights, and we'll entrench it in supreme law status so they will never do this to us again. We will then start working on our education, our health system. Get rid of politicians that are incompetent and are fools. One of the first things I need to do is overturn stupidity and bring some adult supervision in Wellington. Honest, you couldn't do a worse job if you're in there, Julian. Neither could I. It's funny, how everybody thinks those people in there have more experience just because of what? What have they done? We've had to raise family, make ends meet. Mum and Dad bank now to my kids to get into. We've got to do something. Are you courageous enough? You join the ballot box revolution. The ballot box revolution is you are going to vote Winston, but at the last minute you change and say, nah, I like that Brian Tucky. I like what he's saying. And you'll tick Freedoms New Zealand party vote. You're going in there and you're going to go and vote National. And you're thinking, nah, he's a bit of a jellyfish. I like Brian. I might not agree with him all the time, but at least he's got the work behind him and what he's achieved. I'll give him the party vote. You might be voting crap Seymour. Dave's just come out of the cellar from living with his mother's for 50 years. Listen, you'll go in there and this is a ballot box revolution. You're going to vote Seymour, but you realise, you know what, I don't think he's got what it takes to be able to bring the changes necessary. But I can, Brian, he's crazy enough to do it. I will not betray you. Your trust will not be betrayed if you put us in there. I'll guarantee you, we will make sure that we will do the business for you. I'm a man of action. I'll get the job done. No, Julian, I've got to stop. Stop pushing me on and saying keep going. I'm going to stop. All right? That's a ballot box revolution. Share, tell your friends. We can do this. We protested for a long time. I've protested for years. I've had a gutful. It's time to take our parliament back. It's time to take our country back. So let's do this together. Let's join the revolution, a ballot box revolution. Let's change the way we vote. Thank you very much for allowing me to do this. Here you go, Julian.
Good one. Let's give Brian a hand. Come on, thank you. That was... Okay, we're just going to wrap it up today because I just want to finish by saying this. That we're going to keep going right through to for the next 10 years involving what we're doing now, stopping co-governance. We're not stopping at this election because this thing that's got into this country is like a cancer and we're completely committed to stopping it. And I'll finish with these words by President Franklin Roosevelt. He said this: "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out where the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again. For there is not effort without error and shortcoming, who actually tries to do the deed, who knows the great enthusiasm, the great devotion, and spends his life in a worthy cause. And at the last, if he succeeds, he knows the triumph of high achievement. And if at the last he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place might not be counted among those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." That is you. You have come out with dust and sweat and blood. You've put yourself on the line, and I'm so absolutely proud of you. I'm proud of Brian Tamaki for what he's done in this country. I'm proud of him because he's been one of the few guys over the last 20 years who've actually stood up publicly and said things and gone public. And he's not afraid. And so, credit to you for being a good leader. Hey, thank you for coming, and drive safely when you go home. We need you for the next rally. These are going to be going on for the next 10 years or 20 years or whatever it is, until we get this completely finished and we get this country back to democracy and equality and one law for all. All right, thank you, Derek. And thank you to Derek. Come over here. Derek has been a phenomenal organiser, and he's part of the Destiny team, but he helped organise today, and we're so grateful for him and all the Destiny people who come and helped us today and protected us. And being part of the team, you guys have been absolutely amazing. Yeah, I'll see you in Wellington, okay.
Yeah. Cool, thank you. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Brian. Beautiful, eh? Hey, the 28th of September. Yeah, we're all going to be up there. There's convoys from the top of the North Island down to Wellington, from the bottom of the South Island up to Picton, and then we'll jump on the ferry, and we're all going to congregate and meet in Wellington on the 28th, which is actually next Thursday. So spread the word, get there. We're going to continue to shake and roll this nation. Awesome, bless you.
Hey, you got all banners put on top of here. Just come up here and put all our placards back, because we need them. They cost about $40 each or something. So we don't want to have to make another every time we do a thing. So thank you so much for coming in, and we'll see you on the next one. And drive safely on the way home. Awesome, thank you.
So good on you for doing it, girl.